Oh, hello there. Well, it's time to talk the talk, walk the walk, and you know. So, if you haven't heard, Microsoft has now officially announced they're killing the 360 digital store. Something many of us were foreseeing happening because of that weird oopsie where people were getting a notification about something going on with the store, and then Microsoft was quick to be like, oh, no, 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 nothing's wrong. Everything is A-OK. But, like, for me, like, I was just like, well, why does that message exist? Like, that's kind of weird for it to have had a bunch of information and shit there if this was something that wasn't in the cards at all. And, well, as much as I would have loved to have been wrong, as we could see, it proved fruit. So, Microsoft, for a year, will be closing down the 360 store. Pretty shitty. Now, many of you might say, like, well, you're basically a 99.9% physical only type person. So, like, why do you care? Because digital does matter. It's not my preferred way because it's very unfriendly to the consumer, but that doesn't mean digital can't have its benefits. GOG is the best way to own many games because of your freedom of having the fucking product and being able to back it up and shit. And while that is uncommon in digital space, if it was to ever become common, of course, that would be a huge boom to preserving your games from things like this. So yeah, console wise, I'm not really a big positive person when it comes to digital stuff on a console, but still, it has its place. For example, keeping games from being super ridiculously expensive. Stuff like this is usually what causes that to happen. Like, for stuff, like, I can tell you, scalpels are probably already, over the course of the last few days of this announcement, combing through the lists of what is only still on the 360 and not capable of running on other consoles, having backwards compatibility and shit, and they are probably marking the lists on what shit is cheap and what shit to fucking stock up on, because I can always see it. This is when the 360 is going to start getting gouged on stuff. The original Xbox was already experiencing that, and I think this will be the catalyst for the 360. So, if there are indeed 360 titles you're concerned about becoming expensive, specifically Japanese ones, of course. Japanese ones are always prime targets. Now would probably be the time to check to make sure they're affordable and probably get them, because it's probably all uphill from here for a bunch of these titles. Now, I don't think things like Gears of War, Assassin's Creed and shit, like, I don't think any of that shit's gonna ever be valuable outside collector's editions anytime soon, so I wouldn't really be concerned about those. But of course, for those who care about the preserving of games, the bigger question is the games that are digital only, that have no collections, no physical version or a limited one or anything, that they are download only and they are stuck on the 360 without backwards compatibility. Now, it is important to note in this update, they said backwards compatibility games will not be getting removed. And it's easy to see why that's the case, because they get money. They get money. Transaction. While the people who have discs still don't pay money, they're selling them digitally for people who don't have the discs but want to buy them. So, like, those are sticking around because those are still sellable and playable in it. But if it's not a backwards compatibility game, it's going bye-bye. Now, they do say the usual spiel that, if you purchased it, you'll be able to still download it and shit like that. But who knows how long that will remain. I can't imagine for super, super long as the 360 gets older, because obviously shutting down the store is going to make less interest and more justifiable reason of getting rid of it eventually, 100%. So, but backwards compatibility will be remaining for now, so, and it will probably will as long as they keep supporting the functionality of that, because like I said, they get money. Now, there's a lot of people talking about why don't they work on backwards compatibility with a lot of these titles, and there's two sides of this. So the first thing, which a lot of people bring up, is they need licensing in that, and this is true if you're going to sell it. If you're going to sell it digitally, yes, you have to obviously work on that. Because, well, obviously, if you don't own the title, the owners need to give permission for it, need to make, the agreements of how the money and shit and that. Now, if they were just to make physical versions of games function backwards compatible, I mean, theoretically, they could even do it for the digital titles. They just wouldn't be able to put them for sale as backwards compatibility. But the problem is these methods, if they were to make all the physical media and make all the digital stuff continue functioning, it would be at their own expense. Because if they're not selling it on the store still, it would be at their expense. So, they could, in theory, go back and make all the titles backwards compatibility without needing to be purchased still. Let's take an example. Let's say, one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games that are delisted. You can't even buy it anymore. But they could go and make it backwards compatibility and work on newer Xboxes without having it to be on sale. That wouldn't need license agreements. If they were to sell it again, they would need license agreements. And like I said, it's again at their own expense. So while they could do that, they're not realistically going to, because it would cost them time, money, and all that. And whether you want to believe Microsoft or not on their claims of being the loser of the generation, which personally I actually do think is true, but because in the whole court case thing with the whole merger thing, they were just really oh, we're losing. Which, to be fair, like I said, I personally do think they are. The only thing they really got going for them is backwards compatibility, and that's not even being preserved properly, because that involves downloads and shit on a console that needs to be hooked up to the internet at least once when booting up to be function, and nobody's found a way to work around that yet. So, not really winning any awards with hardcore gaming people, in my opinion, on that. But, yeah, those going to be lost titles, and outside of piracy, it's not going to likely be pretty for a lot of these games. But this sadly isn't a new thing. Nintendo continues to be the record holder in destroying these kind of things. You had the Satellaview, you have the 3DS's shop, the Wii U shop, the Wii shop, the DSi shop. Nintendo has continuously destroyed those stores and restarted and put about half the effort of the previous store and somehow fuck it up more. And they keep doing that. The original Nintendo Wii had a huge library of things on it. The Wii U had half of that. And the Switch has probably a quarter of what the fucking Wii U has. While being halfway a subscribing service instead of being able to purchase the shit. So it's just... Honestly, I don't really know why people even fucking buy digital games on Nintendo, considering the horrible track record. At least Microsoft and Sony have a very long track record of keeping these up for a long time. But yeah, Microsoft only had the original Xbox console-wise. If you want to count PC, there's also Windows Live. That went down too, so we can count that as 2 if you want to count it. But to be fair, the original Xbox didn't have a crap ton of stuff. It certainly did begin console internet DLC type things. Well, the Dreamcast started a lot of the online functionality in a popular sense. You can argue there have been a few other online things prior to the Dreamcast, but those things were more lesser known. But the original Xbox would be what initially Willie started trying to do download games. Now, it's not the first. It's not the first. But it was the one that normies started using. And it would be the 360 PS3 era where it really just fucking blasted off in mainstream for sure. So, with the 360 still going down, yeah, this will be a third mark, 2 or 3 marks on Microsoft, and Sony is still in a lot of limbo where, like, you can still access Vita and PS3 via their consoles, and if I remember correctly, PSP, you still had to, like, download it off the PS3 or some shit for PSP, but you still technically could access PSP. It's stupid or something that, like, because I think they made you can't access the store on the PSP anymore. I don't think. Can't quite remember. I just remember it was pretty fucking weird how to access it. But technically, as of now, as far as I'm aware of, everything Sony has is still up in some capacity. But they're slowly chipping away. Because we always saw the moment where the new higher-ups, the California team, in all their wisdom, like, why the fuck would you want to play an old game? You know, there's only like a bazillion Wii Masters and collections of shit old games, you know. Oh, yeah. It's like, fuck you. Anyway, you know, they always tried to do that with the PS3. They wanted to officially axe the fucking thing, and there was a lot of outcry, and luckily, they decided not to. Now, there is another underlying reason why they wanted to do that. Apparently, there is somebody who discovered a exploit to actually do some shenanigans on PS3's store. So apparently that also was a little bit of why they wanted to shut down. But I guess they viewed the negative reaction to the whole thing not worth it compared to the few people doing that. Because I imagine it's not a huge number of people. But yeah. And I'm not even sure how easy it is to do that. I don't know much about it. To be honest, the first time I heard about it was from Larry Bud Jr. I didn't even know about it prior to a video he did. But yeah, it's just, it's shitty. And I'm sure Sony's going to take the next whack at trying to do it a few years down the line. One of the most horrible gaming trends I've been seeing over the last several years is company introduces something. Everyone fucking hates it. Everyone screams about it. Company falls back. Time passes. Company tries same thing again. Less people make an outcry about it. Company gets away with it and continues on. And we can see this exactly with, like, Microsoft themselves. The original Xbox One was considered a fucking travesty when it was first shown, displayed, the reactions, the ways they interacted with the community, replied to questions and concerns and stuff. It was a joke. And then the series comes out and basically literally does the same shit, and no one bats a fucking eye. And of course, the thing I really hate is how Phil, like, look, I don't think Phil Spencer is a terrible person, but I don't really like a lot of the shit he's saying lately. Not because I don't stand by some of the shit he says, because he doesn't stand by it himself. Like, you know, he's talked about preserving and making games available long term and shit. Like, he's talked about that shit when talking about backwards compatibility. And, like, Does It's Play literally called him out on that. As far as I know, no reply. Probably won't. You know, it's just PR shit. Just PR shit. He doesn't clearly stand by the shit he says. So it's a shame. But yeah, if there's anything digital only you're concerned about, you might want to check it out. There are rumors that Microsoft might do like a gigantic big sale thing, which was something that the 3DS did huge fucking sale on all kinds of games really cheap. And when you really think about it, it is a really good moment to get a whole bunch of fucking last sales on a bunch of shit that won't be on sale anymore. So it is a good marketing idea on that sense. And I'm sure it wouldn't surprise me Microsoft probably will do something. But as far as I know, that is a rumor currently. But yeah, if there's anything you're interested in, probably want to check out either sooner than later. Now, well, not necessarily. Wait. Don't wait until the last moment. Now, we got like basically a year. I think it's supposed to be up to July. So you got basically about a year. But yeah, once you get closer to that, you'll want to make your calls on that. Now, when it comes to me, like I said, the thing I'm going to be concerned about is people trying to fucking jack prices up on shit that's only available physically on the 360, because with the digital market going down, and if it's not backwards compatibility title, that means scalpers will be scourging for shit they can mass buy cheap, hoard, and try to fucking jack up from, the $5 to $70 or some shit. It actually recently happened to Armor Core. A similar phenomenon happened to Kingsfield when Souls games started becoming more popular in that. Mainstream people started becoming more aware of Kingsfield, the quote-unquote before Demon Souls era. And because of interest, prices went up. Now all the Kingsfield games, hell, even Japanese fucking titles are fucking going up on shit. It's just, oh my goodness. But yeah, good luck getting Kingsfield for a reasonable price now. Yeah, it's probably pretty painful now. But yeah, that happened to Armor Core and severely quicker. Like, Kingsfield took time. Armor Core was like fucking at night. New Armor Core gets announced. About a week passes. All of a sudden, all the fucking prices, all the Armor Core entries in the West are fucking going up to like $50, $70 and shit. It's fucking quite ridiculous. I hate it. But I guess that's still better than paying $100 plus for something, I guess, still. Like 40 still is an okay range, as long as the game's okay. But yeah, 70 to 100's where it starts getting really iffy, and then over 100 is just, you're going too crazy. But yeah, I'm sure this effect is going to affect several titles. Now, I probably have most titles I'm really interested in on the 360. It's been a long time since I've gone numerous 360 games. Like, the last two I got was a Digimon Wumble game. I used my $5 coupon thing at GameStop, got for like $3. And there was the 50-cent 360 game, which has gone up in price. They had it for I think it was like $14 or $12, which was way cheaper than what it goes for. So I was kind of like, I guess why not? I had my $5 coupon thing again, so I was like, sure, why not? It was a bit scratched, but it looked like buffable scratch, not ungodful scratch. But yeah, I'm sure this is going to make weird things. Tips on what to look at if you're concerned about that kind of thing like I am. I would look into Japanese stuff. Japanese stuff always gets targeted very heavily. Licensed stuff became a much bigger target lately these days, because a lot of licenses over the digital millennia have been like, comes out, it's there for the movie or something, license is gone, gets delisted and shit. That's become a more and more thing. So any unique license things based on superheroes, movies, any IPs that want of the developer's own ownage, or things that can be targeted as well, that can go up. Obviously, especially good ones. Bad ones are kind of flaky, but good ones especially. Good ones especially, very commonly. But those are what I would look at. Like I said, stuff like Gears of War and that, I don't foresee. Because, for one thing, the Gears of War series overall has had a lot of newer versions on the Xbox One and series and shit. So, those are in like, some way. Like, as far as I know, that's not like some obscure spin-off Gears of War game or anything. So that's not going to be a little problem with that. Doesn't guarantee it though. Doesn't guarantee it, but it's very unlikely. But obscure games, of course, are another target of that. But I don't see a lot of the AAA Western games on the 360. Like, those have polluted bargain bins for ages now. So I don't really foresee those coming whale pricey anytime soon until GameStop throws too many copies away and they actually do become whale. Which, who knows? There was lots of sales on those. It's hard to say. But yeah, it's a sad day. I don't prefer digital shit, but I don't want it to go away because it just means hundreds of thousands of people are losing the rights to shit they paid for, which I greatly disagree with them doing shit like that. But there's also apparently some kind of TV service on the 362 that's also going to be going with the store. So, honestly, I really feel like a new generation is experiencing what I did. Because, like I said, in the early day, like, I grew up with this shit starting. I played back to the NES. Did experience Atari a little, but that was from my grandparents. But basically, I generally grew up from the NES to now. So, I grew through digital shit becoming part of gaming and that. And I learned very fast from going from, oh, this is interesting, this opens whole new windows, to being very skeptical when my original 360 died, and it caused a nightmare of ownership problems, being able to get my games, and even having them fucking function. Because I still have one game that does not function no matter how many times I may set my 360 as a home console or something. It does not work anymore, even though I paid for it. And that shit is what grew to me to disdain digital overall. It can be a bright future if they cared about the consumer's rights. They don't. Most of them don't. And you should always question them on these kind of things. But it's a sad day, like I said. A lot of people are about to lose a bunch of shit, and the 360 is one of the most suicidal fucking consoles out there. There are stores that literally have fucking walls of fucking 360s that are broken. Like, Pink Gorilla doesn't even accept any of the white, the OG looking versions. They'll see and be like, no, we don't take those. Like, there's so many of them that are faulty, dead. It's a miracle if any of them fucking still walk, let alone be alive and that. So, it's all the way on faulty hardware on top of that. And, if the store goes down and shit, I'm not sure if that's going to give trouble with moving your console and shit. Like I said, they claim you're going to still be able to download anything you purchased, even if it's not backwards compatibility. So you could own the whole library, and when it goes down, technically still be able to download and shit. How long? As I said, don't know. Wouldn't be surprised if 5-10 years from then, it'll probably be the next thing to get axed. Because it costs them money to have servers, and, obviously if they're not making money on it anymore, it's just no reason to be like, oh, well, we need to shut it down. And plus, usually a lot of times in these kind of situations, they get lazier and lazier on upkeep. Like, if you ever seen, ironically, Demon Souls. So, Demon Souls, in days of its server, like, its server was, like, dying. Like, it had so many problems. It was weird. It was like a really strange and completely different experience for Demon Souls. Like, it was very strange and how the game was working with its server in its in-life. And obviously, they're not going to likely maintain proper care. So I would foresee either A, somebody eventually goes, we just need to tell them we're going to axe it 100% now. Or they're going to let the servers degrade so badly that they're going to be like, well, we can't actually recover it now. It's kind of too late. That's kind of what I see. But yeah, that's just how it is, sadly, with digital overall. I mean, like with GOG, like the thing I like about GOG, even though things obviously get delisted off GOG for similar things like licenses and not owning actual IPs, like, the developer worked on this game, it's for sale for a while, and then they don't have the license anymore, so it has to get delisted. Regardless of that, you have it in your account and everything, you can back it up, put it on a USB, put it on Google Drive, put it on a disk, whatever. Install it on all 5 of your computers, your laptop, it's like, I love that. I love that. I wish gaming could just be like that in general. Imagine how great we would be able to still preserve these things, still have them exist and shit. Of course, the perfect scenario, if we can't do that, the other perfect scenario would be to support your fucking store till your business falls apart and rots in hell. Which, yeah, as of now, none of these fucking companies are doing. They're not doing it at all. Nintendo certainly ain't, so. And Sony, I'm sure, is going to wait several years and take their next shot to get rid of their shit that they don't want to support anymore, so. Time will tell. And to think I used to give Sony a lot of credit for keeping all the fucking stores up. Because, I mean, for a while there, they did. They had everything. And now they just keep slowly chipping away until they can keep going through, so. We'll have to see what comes of it. And to think if we ever get to the next Sony console, there might be the fears of the PS4 being in this situation, assuming the PS3, even, like, if the PS3 doesn't get shut down by then, that's definitely going to be likely a second attempt by then, I imagine. I feel so bad for people who buy a lot of digital stuff, but, and I don't wish for this to happen to people, but I do hope this is a wake-up call to a lot of people on how your ownership is being questioned with a lot of this stuff. Like I said, for now they say you'll be able to still download your games again if you have already purchased them, if they're not backwards compatibility, but we don't know how long that's going to last. And I don't think it's going to be forever with Microsoft. I don't think it will. I'll be surprised. I'll give them credit if they do. But I really don't have the faith in them doing that, so. Anyway, though, those are some of my thoughts and things about the whole announcement of the 360 store going down. It sucks. It doesn't affect me as horribly much as people who have spent, the whole generation of it buying exclusively or a lot of digital-only titles. Sucks so much for them. Because, for example, let's say somebody bought, the Armored Core series digitally on 360. Well, if that goes down and the 360 kaputs and they can't get recovered or something, there's something wrong with that, then they'd have to go track down the physical versions. As I said, they've gone up. So, and I imagine a lot of desirable titles that are more niche and such will be following suit, so. Anyway, I'm going to go over a gigantic list of 360 games and see if there's anything I still want before that kind of thing affects it. Otherwise, though, you all have a good day. Be safe in the proving grounds. And I'll see you next time, somewhere out there.